Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is something a little different from what I've been posting so far, and honestly one of the most exciting culinary experiences I've had in my life. Over the weekend I spent 3 total days in a professional kitchen learning the fundamentals of plant-based cooking. Not just recipes, but techniques, flavor building, and the why behind everything. From fermentation to umami to mastering spices and all the way to plant-based baking. I was honestly impressed since the first moment I stepped into the restaurant. Everything was prepared for us, books, table, and the chef already immersed ourselves into the experience of learning the basics. So let's get into it. Day one was all about foundations, and it started with fermentation. Before this class, I actually thought fermentation was just letting things sit in jars and hoping for the best. But actually, it's very controlled and fascinating process. We learned how microorganisms like bacteria and yeast break down food, creating complex flavors. We worked on things like fermented vegetables and simple ferments that can be used to elevate everyday dishes. But honestly, the real highlight of the day was understanding umami. Umami is often called the fifth taste, alongside sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. It's that deep, savory flavor that makes food feel satisfying and complete. It was mind-blowing for me to understand that it's actually not a food or any condiment, but it's actually a flavor. In plant-based cooking, this is especially important because you're building richness without using animal products. We explored ingredients naturally high in umami like mushrooms, tomatoes, sweet seaweed, and fermented foods. And one thing that really stuck with me is that great cooking isn't about one powerful ingredient, it's about combining elements that enhance each other. By the end of day one, I started to realize that plant-based food isn't about replacing anything, it's about creating something entirely new with its own depth and identity. This was amazing. An ice cream from peanuts, just mind-blowing. I particularly appreciated the style and the charisma of the chef. While he was cooking, he was explaining everything and getting into the depths of the why. And we really enjoyed looking at how he was just putting everything together in the dishes and making some form of art in the plates. Just amazing to see. Everyone was fascinated by the craft that he had. As you can see from the first day, to understand the very basics and fundamentals of this type of cooking, we prepared different little plates, platillos in Spanish, in order to get different flavors, different sauces, and different ways of cooking with umami and other flavors. And of course, we all took the chance to take pictures, post everything on Instagram, make our friends jealous, and of course, it was taste test time. But I cannot find the words to explain how gorgeous everything was. And yes, this was day one. Amazing experience. had the chance to stroll around the city for a while after the class ended. Day two was on a Saturday, and it was just amazing to get into the city and very, very few people around. At this stage, I knew everyone in the group, so the ice was broken, and I felt way more comfortable getting into the class. And that is my chia pudding that I undid just before the class started. Day two was probably the most fun and definitely the most aromatic. This day was all about spices. We didn't just cook, we learned how spices actually work, things like when to toast them, to grind them, and how different techniques completely change the flavor. Actually, our chef told us that there isn't any specific flavor for curry. It's a combination of spices that anytime can vary so much depending on the quantity of the different aromas that are used. So pretty mind-blowing as well. I had the chance to learn that toasting whole spices brings out oils and intensifies their aroma, while adding ground spices later can preserve more delicate notes. No idea that was something that happened chemically. We also explored how spices interact with fat, heat, acidity, and basically how to build a balanced dish from scratch. And of course, we put all of that theoretical part into practice by making curry. Not from a jar, but completely from scratch. I found out during the class that some of my teammates are professional cooks in restaurants or as private chef, which is quite surprising for me. Look at the art and craft in cutting everything. So I basically recorded and made good use of my time, just having my camera on and taking pictures and videos. We built the flavor step by step, starting with aromatics like garlic, ginger, and onion, and layering spices, of course, as you saw. Then adding liquids and letting everything develop slowly, very, very slowly. The chef took its time. Idealmente está bueno tener un cocinar para que otra vez se... What surprised me the most is how much control you actually need to have. A small change like adjusting one spice or cooking it a bit longer can completely transform the dish. As you can see, as a protein source, we used red lentils, which go perfectly with a curry. As a vegetable, we added squash. Everything turned orange. I love the color combination of this one. The chef also taught us how to make potato puree from scratch, and it's just art, really, really art. He used some vegan butter, truffle, olive oil. It was just a daydream, really. I cannot express with words. And this oven went perfectly with some bread sliced and baked in there. The sous chef of the restaurant taught us this technique of cutting potatoes in this different way of slicing them. I did not try myself because it seemed way too complicated for me. One of my teammates tried. It was complicated. It seems easy, but as you can see, he was really struggling there to slice. And he was one of the good ones to cook. These that you see in the pan seem to be burgers, meat burgers, but it's actually mushrooms. I believe they're called lion something mushrooms. They were delicious, really.
Tenemos un poquito de cilantro fresco. Okay. El perfume que tienen los asmati de...
The chef used some beetroot sauce or something just to add a little bit of redness into that, which in my opinion enriched the flavor as well. And let me tell you, that seemed to be meat. 100%, that seemed really, really meat. And with that, day 2 concluded so fast. It's amazing how fast these classes are going. Day 3 was on a Sunday, of course, and we shifted gears into something more technical, plant-based baking. Amazing. Little check of my outfit, and there we go. They also had a little breakfast prepared for us. How sweet was that? I'll be honest with you guys, this was the most challenging part for me. The reason is baking is usually very precise, and when you remove ingredients like eggs, butter, milk, you really need to understand what role they play and how to kind of replace them. But actually we used so many different ingredients that I didn't feel like nothing was missing. It was just a whole different universe. We learned how to replace those elements using plant-based alternatives, things like milk, oils, natural binders, and more importantly, we learned why those substitutions work. Considering that baking takes way more time than other type of preparations, we had in total 3 different desserts to prepare. So the chef decided to split us in groups, and of course my group was the one with the most challenging dessert, which was a lemon curd. So in this video you will see basically that kind of dessert prepared. This is me making the whipped cream, and this is the part of the cake in the oven. We had to rely on the chef support in getting out the cake, the base of the cake, the cookie part, just because it was too complicated for us and we didn't want to fragment and getting everything into crumbles. So he basically assembled everything for us just because we were on a kind of a time constraint and he didn't want to waste too much time when something this elaborate was the whole last part of the experience. So he did a wonderful job, so no complaining there. Look at this whipped cream, guys. It's fantastic. I did an amazing job. That's pretty much what I cooked for the whole weekend, but anyway. This is the sous chef putting the whipped cream on top of the cake. Oh my god, he was so good at doing that. And the very last touch, which was bruleeing everything on top of the cake. By this point, our mouths were watering, really. There is no other way. We had something left, and we made some super mini cakes. Although my diet is not 100% full plant-based, I honestly really enjoyed this experience. So if there is anything similar in your city, just go for it. It's something new, something different, and it will really open your mind into this cuisine, which was the whole point for me. And last but not least, thank you so much for watching this video.